The jungle had its own rhythm, a heartbeat that never stopped, a voice that spoke in the rustle of leaves and the hiss of distant rain. To those who listened, it told stories older than the rivers. To those who ignored it, it delivered lessons carved in pain. High above the forest floor, where sunlight fractured into gold through canopies of green, the monkeys ruled. They were not merely animals. They were a kingdom of motion, a nation of eyes, hands, and warnings. At the heart of them all was the one they called the Monkey King, a massive silver-furred creature with eyes dark as obsidian and scars like carved lightning down his arms. His crown was not of gold, but of silence, the silence other creatures gave him when he appeared. No man had ever caught him. No hunter had ever returned with proof that he lived. But legends spread that he could command storms, that his roar could crack stone, that his mind was sharper than a blade. And when the villages by the forest began to vanish, when fruit trees were stripped bare overnight and tools left out were found hanging in trees the next dawn, the people spoke one name. The Monkey King had been angered. Aaron, a young explorer from the southern plains, refused to believe the tales. He had seen the jungle on maps and in sketches, but never feared it. To him, the Monkey King was a myth, a story to frighten children. With a rifle on his back and pride in his chest, he entered the Green Labyrinth, determined to capture the beast or die proving it didn't exist. The jungle swallowed him. Each day bled into the next as he pressed deeper, marking trees, mapping paths. Strange things began to happen, his food stolen at night, footprints erased by dawn, stones stacked in patterns around his campfire. The forest was watching him, mocking him, testing him. Then, on the 5th day, he reached the clearing of mirrors, a lake so still that it reflected the sky with perfect precision. There, in the reflection, something moved behind him, tall, broad-shouldered, with eyes that glowed like embers in the mist. Aaron turned, heart pounding. The Monkey King stood at the edge of the trees. There was no sound, no movement, only the weight of ancient judgment between them. The jungle, at last, had chosen to speak, and Aaron had no idea what lesson awaited him. The forest held its breath as the two beings, one man, one legend, faced each other beneath the canopy. Aaron's heartbeat echoed louder than the hum of insects, louder even than the rush of the river behind him. The Monkey King stood unmoving, his silver fur streaked with dirt and the light of the dying sun. The jungle seemed to bow to him. Even the air grew heavy around his presence. Aaron raised his weapon, not in fear but in defiance. The rifle gleamed like false fire in the green gloom. Yet before his finger could tighten on the trigger, the world itself rebelled. The trees groaned, birds erupted from the branches, and a scream tore from the jungle that did not belong to any one creature. It was the cry of the forest, deep and thunderous. In that instant, the Monkey King vanished into shadow, and the trees closed in. Aaron stumbled back, startled, disoriented. The clearing he had entered was gone. In its place stretched an unfamiliar maze of vines and ancient trunks. The sun had vanished behind clouds, and what little light remained flickered like breath on water. Every sound, the rustle of leaves, the drip of rain, felt deliberate, like laughter too low to hear. Something moved above him. Aaron looked up, glimpsing flashes of silver fur. Shapes leapt from branch to branch, silent but swift. Not one Monkey King, many. A kingdom of his kind encircled him, unseen but present, their amber eyes burning like scattered coals. They did not attack, they watched. Their patience was more terrifying than violence. Then, from behind him, came the sound of cracking branches. The ground trembled. The Monkey King returned, descending from the canopy with the slow, deliberate grace of a god returning to his throne. His gaze fell on the man who had dared to intrude, and for a moment, pity seemed to flicker there. The first strike was not physical. It came a sound, a roar that shook the trees and shattered Aaron's balance. Birds fled, and the air rippled as though the world had been split in two. Aaron fell to his knees, his weapon slipping into the mud. The jungle responded in kind. Monkeys howled from every direction, a chorus of fury rising until the very wind screamed with them. Branches whipped like lashes, Vines snared his arms, and roots rose from the ground as if the forest itself sought to hold him still. The Monkey King advanced, slow and unrelenting, his shadow stretching long across the trembling ground. Aaron tried to crawl back, but every movement was resisted by the will of the wild. When the beast stood over him, the jungle fell silent once more. Aaron felt its breath, hot, damp, and filled with the scent of earth and rain. He looked up and saw not hatred in the creature's eyes, but warning. This was no mindless animal. This was judgment swift, ancient, and absolute. The rifle sank beneath the mud. The man who had come to prove his dominion found himself at the mercy of something far greater than pride or power. Dawn crept slowly into the forest, weak and colorless after a night that had seemed to stretch beyond time. The mist hung low, curling around the roots and fallen branches like the ghosts of the jungle itself. Aaron lay half buried in mud, every muscle bruised, his breath shallow and ragged. The rifle was gone, swallowed by the earth. The forest no longer hid its voice. It whispered all around him, soft, constant, ancient. He had crossed the line between man and the wild had answered. Somewhere in that silver fog, the Monkey King moved. Aaron heard him before he saw him, the steady crack of branches, the soft thump of enormous feet, the rhythm of breath older than human memory. The jungle parted like a curtain, and there he stood once more, vast, upright, crowned with sunlight filtering through the canopy. There was no anger in him now, only gravity, the quiet authority of something that needed no language to command. Aaron tried to rise, but his body refused. The Monkey King came closer, each step deliberate, and stopped just beyond arm's reach. Around them, hundreds of smaller shapes appeared, monkeys of every size and shade, filling the trees in perfect silence. They waited, not as spectators, but as witnesses. A trial was taking place. The king lowered his head, eyes locked on the fallen man. For a heartbeat, Aaron felt his own fear dissolve into understanding. He saw flashes, images in his mind like the jungle was showing him memories. Fires cutting through trees. Hunters with guns. Creatures running, bleeding, burning. The Monkey King's wrath had never been vengeance. It had been balance. A response to everything humans had taken without listening. When Aaron blinked, the vision faded. He reached forward, his hand trembling, and touched the soil between them. The king mirrored him, pressing his massive palm into the same ground. A tremor passed through the forest. It was not punishment anymore, it was acceptance. Then, as quietly as he had come, the Monkey King turned away. His followers vanished into the green shadows, their movements fluid, their eyes still upon the man. Aaron remained kneeling, watching the silver back disappear among the leaves until even the light seemed to follow it. The jungle began to breathe again. Birds sang. Insects hummed. Life resumed, but slower, softer, as if the entire forest exhaled in peace. Aaron rose unsteadily, understanding that he had not survived by chance, he had been spared with purpose. The wrath of the king was a lesson. The jungle could forgive, but only once. When he finally emerged from the forest's edge days later, his eyes carried something new, humility, perhaps, or the knowledge that the world was not his to command. Behind him, deep in the green distance, a single roar echoed faintly, not of rage, but of warning. And those who heard it in the villages said the Monkey King had returned to his throne, watching once more, guarding the balance between man and the wild.